again, everybody. Scott Casper, Takedown Wrestling. We go to the Nike hot seat. We head out to California. Olympic gold medalist Henry Cejudo joins us. Henry, how are you?
I'm doing good, Scott. I'm doing good, Scott. How are you guys doing?
We're doing well, dude. We're all geared up for this Global Wrestling Championships Agon 5 event at the Cedar Rapids U.S. Cellular Center. It'll be you versus Tony Ramos. Ramos, of course, looking to be that number one guy or retain that number one spot. You, of course, looking to defend the honor that is the Olympic gold medal. This has been a match that so many people have wanted to see. First of all, how did it come about?
No, I talked to actually I'm good friends with Mike DeSabato, and he had asked me if I was willing to to wrestle. I was like, well, it took me a while, and he kind of seduced me a little bit.
Just- so he made it easy for you to accept this deal.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Tony Ramos is a tough competitor. He's number one in the country, and part of me as a competitor myself, I want to be able to challenge myself. I want to see where I'm at in wrestling. So I do believe I'm at the age of 28. I think I'm very, very strong, and I feel good. I feel good, Scott. I feel really healthy, and I want to see what I can be able to display come Friday night.
All right, so Friday night, U.S. Cellular Center, of course, co-main event. It'll be Henry Cejudo versus Tony Ramos. Tickets on sale now. You can also get the pay-per-view at tmwc1.com. $4.99. It's a deal. It's a steal. Get the pay-per-view, even if you're going to the event live. And I tell you what, this is one match that won't disappoint. Ramos is out there saying he's going to bring it. Henry Cejudo, when was the last time wrestling was a real competition for you? I know that being an MMA star now, you are focusing on various aspects, the Muay Thai, the Jiu-Jitsu, the stand-up, the boxing, but wrestling has got to be an important component.
Oh, for sure, wrestling is the most important component, without a doubt. And I wrestle at least, I wrestle as much as I can. Obviously, I'm not wrestling like how we used to because it's not a sport of wrestling no more. But there's wrestling components to it. But it's pretty cool, Scott. There's a lot of things that I'm capable of doing that at times when I was wrestling that I wanted to do to some of my opponents. And mixed martial arts has allowed me to to pretty much to become more creative and use my wrestling to strikes and whatnot. So it's
When
it's it's pretty cool, Scott.
when Wayne Eric Boyd of Tight Mercury Wrestling Club and Global Wrestling Championships, and the fellas at Agon too, Randy Tortorice and Mike DeSabato, and of course Frank DePhillips, when they told me of this matchup, what I began to do is start to analyze the differences between you two. Have you paid attention to the Ramos style that and I think it's fair to call it the Iowa style of wrestling? In as much as you didn't wrestle high school, you certainly wrestled at a very high level internationally. So we're talking about international freestyle rules. What do you know about your opponent?
What I know about Tony is he's it's gonna be 6 minutes of intensity. He's coming out. He's gonna call it timing. He's gonna go out there. He's gonna wrestle front headlock. Like you said, it's the Iowa style wrestling. They want to control the head. They want to control the hand fighting to get their angles to shoot. And I think my style matches up pretty well with any style, pretty much, because I'm very, I guess you can say now, oh, to God, he's given me a certain gift, and I can adjust to certain styles and to certain people. So, and I'm looking forward to it, Scott. It's if not, I wouldn't wrestle. Obviously, I'm making really good money. In mixed martial arts. It's just a way of me going out there and I was asked to put the sport of wrestling on the map, and I think this is it's to me it's part of putting the sport on the map, and wrestling is such a great event like Aegon 5.
Aegon 5 it is. It'll be Friday night this week. Friday night, folks, you can get the pay-per-view at tmwc1.com, $4.99, or you can join us 7:30 first whistle, first bout of the 8 or 9 bouts that will take place at the U.S. Cellular Center, downtown Cedar Rapids. It's going to be broadcast on pay-per-view. Do you like that component? I mean, you've become, I guess, I think it's fair to say you've become a star. You've been on the Leno Show. You've been on almost every television show that matters. And, of course, you've become the face of what is now the modern-day USA Wrestling.
Yeah, no, I absolutely. I mean, I think it's cool. I think wrestling, putting on great events like this, it's only going to elevate it to the UFC level. I mean, obviously, in wrestling, you don't see as many tricks and flips and knockouts like you see in the UFC. But it's definitely, in my opinion, wrestling's it's more of an art than any other sport because it takes two tough people that need to become creative to defeat each other with a certain style of grappling rather than having so many different components. So I think having events like Aegon 5 and promoting wrestling at its highest is it's only good for our sport. So hopefully someday in the future, the next 100 years, maybe wrestling can become the next football of America.
Yeah, man, brother. Now, Tony Ramos does have the Global Wrestling Championship belt. And that belt, I understand, is on the line.
Oh,
You have, I mean, dozens of awards and medals and honors over the years. Would you like to add the Global Wrestling Championship belt? And if so, how bad?
oh, absolutely. I'd put it up right next to that wall right there.
Yeah, you showed me the wall earlier, and it's almost as impressive as my wall of autographed pictures. Um, which, by the way, I don't have your new UFC 8x10. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I'm gonna hook you up, Scott. I'm gonna make sure you get a picture from me. So no worries.
Let's talk a little bit about one of the other guys on the card, a young man recently coming out of Southern California, Aaron Pico. You've talked about him in somewhat glowing terms. What do you make of this young phenom out of Southern California?
I think he's a tough kid. I think someone like Aaron Pico, uh, man, I think he can revolutionize or help revolutionize the sport. A lot of kids don't want to wrestle in college. I'm not saying don't go to college, but he's taking the pretty much, in my opinion, he's taking the Henry Cejudo route. He's taking the Henry Cejudo route, but he's taking it to an extreme. And he's pretty much foregoing his whole high school career, the remainder 3 or 2 years that he has, and focusing solely on freestyle. So I mean, it takes guts, and let me tell you, Scott, it takes guts. It takes a certain type of human being to do what he's doing, and I hope he just continues to stay hungry. I hope he continues to do what he's doing. I follow up with him quite a bit. To me, it's inspiring. It's inspiring. I do believe if Aaron Pico could stay at this pace and continue to get better and doesn't plateau, I think we have the next John Smith.
Wow,
Dude,
that is that is high praise indeed. I'm not going to disagree with you because a wrestler's perspective, I think, perhaps is even deeper than a journalist or a broadcaster's perspective. We're looking from the outside. We don't see all the hard work you guys put into it. I mean, you put in countless hours on the mat perfecting your craft, and now you see Aaron Pico, and I think that's high praise indeed. Let's talk a little bit about the transition. He has a pro contract as well to fight. You have a pro contract that you're exercising right now within the UFC. What is next for Henry Cejudo when it comes to professional fighting on the big pay-per-views?
what's next for me? I'm fighting June 13th in Mexico City.
How big
So
is that fight for Henry Cejudo? Because you just returned home from Mexico City, where sadly the news, of course, that reached us was that your grandmother at 93 years old had died, and a very emotional trip for you.
yeah. I mean, it's part of life. And like I told you yesterday, she's lived her life. She's lived to 93 years old. But it's still sad. But I think as a Christian, as someone that believes in God, there's always the afterlife. I think that's the most important thing. So, it's life here isn't about us no more. She's with God, and that's something that that brings peace in my heart. So hopefully, eventually, I can see her again.
Oh, I
hopefully,
think, yeah.
hopefully, hopefully, I don't go to hell, Scott.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, right? Oh man, we're talking with somebody we've had the pleasure to sit down with many times. He's joining us in the Nike hot seat today, and I don't know what you're wearing on your feet for this particular event, but whatever it is, I know you can't employ kicks, you can't employ the feet other than for speed. Can you talk to us about any potential deals, or do you have a potential deal?
A potential deal with my footwear or my
Yes, yes,
sponsors?
yes.
No, not really, not really. I'm kind of still kind of weighing out my odds a little bit. Obviously, there's a business to to be sponsored, especially when you have a gold medal, you're undefeated mixed martial artist. So I haven't even thought about it that far, Scott. I'm just going in there and wrestling. So if anybody has any offers for one fight, I mean one wrestling match for 6 minutes, you guys please contact Scott at Takedown Radio. He
All
can be
right,
my,
so that's it right there. Now I've become a pseudo agent for Cejudo. I see
yeah.
what you're doing there.
Unfortunately, I used to be sponsored by Asics and Adidas at one point, but it seems like a lot of these different companies don't want to dabble into mixed martial arts.
Well, your
So
phone is ringing off the hook, dude, and that says quite a bit about you in this interview. That you continue to get calls even as we sit down to do the interview. So kudos to those guys. Maybe they are listening, even as we speak. Henry, the travel dates have you in to do the weigh-ins at 2 o'clock Central Standard Time. When do you actually arrive in Cedar Rapids?
I'm actually flying out tomorrow.
So on Wednesday you fly out. They give
Yeah,
you a little bit of time to acclimate, rest up at the hotel, and then, of
right.
course, we'll see you at 2 o'clock at the weigh-ins. What do you want to tell the Cejudo fans out there, the fans of America's gold medalist Henry Cejudo?
Well, I just want to let them know that I fight and I really do it for them. I I, I wrestle and I wrestle for for God, for my family, for my friends and my fans. Because without them, it would be impossible for me to pretty much live my life. And like I said, I use wrestling, I use mixed martial arts as a platform to inspire others because I believe that I was put on this earth to give, not so much to take. And I took so much from this world that now it's time to give after accomplishing something so big like winning the Olympics. So I'm just here to give it my all, and that's all, man. And I mean it.
I mean,
Give it my
dude, I
all.
remember the tears in your eyes when you won Olympic gold and you fell to your knees. It was an emotional time for America. It was an emotional time for you, your family, and I think you still feel that loving embrace of the sport, don't you?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm telling you, Scott, without the sport of wrestling, I really don't know where I would be. I really don't. I really don't. I mean, hopefully be successful in something else, but I couldn't pick a better or greater sport than like the sport of wrestling.
Well, for fighting from fighting for ice cream in SoCal to now fighting in Cedar Rapids only in a wrestling format. Freestyle rules, international rules will apply as you face Tony Ramos at Agon 5. It'll be Friday night, 7:30 Central. Look for it on pay-per-view, tmwc1.com, $4.99, and you get to see the young upstart NCAA champ from the University of Iowa, Tony Ramos, taking on the seasoned veteran now at 28 years old, Henry Cejudo. Henry, can't wait to see you at the weigh-ins, dude.
No, for sure, Scott. No, thank you guys, and let's continue to promote wrestling at its finest. And that's something I love about wrestling is we don't talk about it, we be about it. So I'll be seeing him on the mat, and that's all that matters.
And I'm loving that T-shirt you're wearing too, sporting the Beat the Streets LA T-shirt, man.
Beat the
Just
streets, baby.
that's
Beat
what
the
I'm talking
streets.
about. Continuing to give back. Henry Cejudo, thanks, brother. Appreciate the time.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it.
Henry Cejudo on our Nike hot seat. He's getting ready for Agon 5 Global Wrestling Championships. A belt is on the line as he faces Tony Ramos. Co-main event. We'll see you in Cedar Rapids at the U.S. Cellular Center, 7:30. First whistle.